everybody. Welcome back to the Fumble Live. Thank you so much for tuning in today. This is my last day on the Fumble, and I'm very sad about it, but we still have a lot of news to get into, and I'm really excited to talk to you guys about it. We're getting into Dennis Schroeder and how he seriously regrets the decision that he made to turn down that deal. We're also talking about Ben Simmons and the next step in his plan to leave the Sixers, although I just don't know if any of this is really going to work out that well for him. Before we dive in, subscribe to the Fumble, tap the bell for notifications, give this video a thumbs up, and leave a comment below. Here's the Fumble Squad. I'm Devin Howard. You can find me on Instagram as @DevinHoward.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Jackie Ray. You can follow me on Instagram and Twitter @JRayTheFanatic. I've already said it in the chat. Lots of love. I don't want to see any weirdness today. I just want to see love for Miss Devin Howard because today is her last day. Say something special. Put your favorite anecdote, your favorite memory of Devin Howard in the chat. Put all that in there. Nothing but love today because we're going to so miss you. We went out last night and had drinks, though, and we've promised to do it at least once a month. So I'm going to still see Devin Howard. So you guys probably won't unless you follow her on her social media. Make sure you follow her. Put lots of love in the chat today. Send her off with some love. That's all I'm going to say.
Oh, thank you. We had so much fun last night. Such a great time. We were all out there and we were like, why don't we do this more often? Why haven't we been doing this the whole time? We just had such a good time catching up, talking about, funny memories at work and things that we didn't even know about each other because so much of our communication has been just centered around sports and about the news of the day and all that. So it was really fun to be able to go out and actually talk about things that we don't get a chance to really share. So we had a really great time. We had our producer there. We had Leo there. And it was really nice. I want to just, before we get into the news, I do want to say another thank you to the amazing team that I've been able to work with at the Fumble. Jackie has been so supportive, so great, and always so fun to work with, so patient with me as I made a transition into sports, and because prior to that I was doing celebrity news, so it was just really great to have somebody like Jackie there to just cheer me on as I kind of entered into a new territory. So that was great. Thank you so much for that. And then also for thank you to Arthi and Leo for always being so great to work with. You guys have been amazing, and it's been fun to have you guys working with me throughout the pandemic and doing the live show and all the various versions of the live show that we've gone through. It's just been fun, and I'm really grateful for this experience, and I'll miss you guys a lot. So can't wait for our monthly meetups. And then the Fumble chat. You guys, sometimes you make me real mad, sometimes you make me really happy, but you guys are great, and I'll be tuning in the chat whenever I can. I'll be there with Stay Mad, like, La Flop sucks. Just kidding. I would never say that. Let's be real. But you guys, on that note, let's get into the news. Let's discuss this Dennis Schroeder stuff, okay? So Dennis Schroeder, he bet on himself. And you know what? We do appreciate when somebody bets on themselves, although they have to be ready for that. They have to be ready to take that chance, and I don't know that Dennis was at that point in his career yet, because he is yet to find a team to sign him during this offseason after the Lakers traded for him at the beginning of last season. So the Lakers offered him that 4-year, $84 million contract extension, but he turned it down thinking that he could get much more in the open market with another team. And unfortunately, he was wrong, which we told him that prior to all of this even going down. One source actually told a Boston newspaper that Schroeder is just looking for a 1-year deal right now. They said, quote, he's only interested in 1 year and then getting back out there. He also said that he's run into another problem here, not just that there are teams who are not interested in signing him, but that also there is a lack of available starting point guard positions. So he's been reportedly talking to the Celtics for a low contract, but he's also just in shock about the lack of availability in the open market after turning down that contract from the Lakers. The Celtics have apparently pitched him the idea of backing up Marcus Smart next season, basically right now he's just really mad at himself for not accepting that $84 million deal. I think that this deal that he could get is only $5.9 million, which is a far cry from the 84 mil he was going to get with the Lakers. So he's just in shock right now that he hasn't been able to find success. Leo, let's get some of the Twitter reactions up there. This person said, shout out to all of us who know how it feels to bet on yourself and then immediately lose. Another person tweeted writing, Dennis Schroeder turns down 4 years, 84 mil guaranteed from the Lakers, only to accept 1 year, 5.9 mil from the Celtics. He should fire his agent or himself, but someone must go. Talk about fumbling a bag. That seriously is a bag that was fumbled. Dennis, becoming a cautionary tale is nuts. Betting on yourself is a beautiful thing, but sometimes you're just supposed to take the money. And then there's another tweet here that says, Dennis Schroeder, I want a deal around $120 million. A few months later, Lakers signed Melo, Russ, none. Dennis Schroeder, is the 84 mil deal still available? Best I can do is $20. It's true. He really did mess that one up. So Jackie, when you hear that Dennis is shocked, do you think he has a right to be shocked, or should he have kind of seen this coming?
I think he should have seen it coming. I think the exact thing that I said when he turned down the money is the exact way I feel right now. The moment he turned it down, I said, okay, this is because it's exactly what you said. You're betting on yourself, but you can't just place the bet. You got to do the work. You have to provide tape that shows you're worth more money. He didn't do that. So you have to just be honest with yourself. You have to own that, and you have to say, you know what, I took this chance, but my level of play didn't step up. People are not at this time where they're going to go back very far beyond last season to say, hey, you did great. So that's, he put it on himself, this 1 year deal for $5.9 million. He's going to have to do the exact same thing. Prove yourself. This is a prove it year. You're basically getting paid to prove yourself. So will that mean that maybe the Celtics will offer you more money later, or what does that mean? We don't know. But what he cannot do is go out there and have another season like he had last season, because he's going to be back in this rotation of where is he going to go? Do we want to pay him money? So well done for getting signed, because I thought he was going to be in limbo land for a while, because I just thought he deserved to be, not because I have any malice against him. But when you see people like Carmelo Anthony that stayed in La La Land for a little bit, then Dennis for sure I thought was going to be out there for a long time, but he wasn't. So good for him. Congratulations to him. But he needs to really capitalize on this moment. He needs to step up and be all that he thought he was going to be. Whatever he had in his head that made him bet on himself when he turned down that money, I don't know what happened, but he wasn't that person. You need to be that person in Boston and earn this money again, because you rarely get a second chance in life. So this is his second chance for sure. Go ahead and get that money. Take that $5.9 million, do the damn thing, and earn a bigger contract. That's all this is right now. He needs to see this as a speed bump, just a bump in the road. He needs to put last season out of his mind and just play his heart out this season.
I agree with you. I think that it's a miracle that he was able to get anything, and now this really truly is a prove-it season for him. If he doesn't have a super standout season on the Celtics, what do you think's going to be in store for him in the future, Jackie? Do you think that his NBA career is over at that point?
No, he'll be a journeyman. He'll go from team to team to team on this 1 year contract, or maybe he gets to the point where he even has to do a 2-way contract. But he can't let that happen, though. You just can't, because then his ego will be shot, and then it's hard to overcome both. It's hard to overcome the doubt that you have within yourself and the doubt that the league has in you, because if you fail again this season, the league is going to have doubt in you. They'll still believe that you can produce a little bit, so you will end up a journeyman, but then that's going to be a shot to your ego. So he can't let that happen. This has to be a prove-it season. Even if he has a good season but not great season, that'll still work for him. But he needs to shoot for a great, phenomenal, this is why we offered him that $84 million in the first place kind of season. And the next time, if he gets an 80 or even, dare I say, $70 million contract, take the money.
Seriously, he does need to take the money. I think that this is going to be a lesson learned for him. I don't think, and it's kind of sad because you like to see somebody bet on themselves, I think that it's a good thing to see people believe in themselves, but he was just a little too confident considering the season that he had just had. But now I
Right.
have a feeling in the future he is not going to be betting on himself, at least not to this degree anymore. I think that he's going to be ready to like you can't make this same mistake twice. And if he does, then that's really stupid. That's when he really should fire himself, like that tweet said, because that's just ridiculous. But hey, good luck to him. Obviously, neither of us wish to see him struggling or suffering or anything like that. And let's be real, 5.9 million is a lot of money for normal people. So even though it's significantly less than what he could have gotten, it's not bad money. So he's still going to be able to live a luxurious life, but now he also kind of has the humiliation of knowing that he turned down that massive contract and he's only signed to a 1 year for a lot less money. So that's on him. It's a learning experience, and hopefully he does better with the Celtics this upcoming season. Now let's get into some Ben Simmons news, because the news never stops about Ben. So we had previously talked about how he had cut off all communication with the Sixers. He wasn't returning their phone calls. He wasn't going to workouts. He wasn't communicating with them at all. And any discussions that were being had were going through Rich Paul, his agent. So Ben was not a part of it at all. He refused to speak to anybody. And now a new report has come out that says he is willing to sit out of training camp if he's not traded. So on the Jump podcast on Monday, Kendrick Perkins said that the Sixers need to do something soon because he believes Simmons is willing to sit out of training camp if he doesn't get what he wants. So he said, quote, Ben Simmons is not answering the phone calls. He don't want to be with the Sixers. And from what I heard, he's willing not to report to training camp and will go as long as it takes for him to get out of Philly. Rachel Nichols then doubled down on that sentiment and tweeted, the Sixers are reportedly making a play for Damian Lillard. Is it a realistic one, which we're going to talk about in a second? And then Kendrick Perkins says Philadelphia has to do something soon because he believes Ben is willing to sit out of training camp if he is not dealt. Is this the right move for Ben Simmons? Does he have enough pull to refuse to report to training camp if he doesn't get what he wants?
And this is the problem. It's not about Ben getting what he wants. The 76ers want to get rid of you. It's just that their asking price is too high. So this is weird to me. It's not like he's on a team that's like, oh no, we're not going to trade you. That's not what we want. We're going to make you stay. That's not what's happening. They want to get what they should have got for you in 2018. That's what they want. And nobody's going to give that to them right now. This isn't about you being like, oh, I'm all that. No, bro. This is so weird to me. You can sit out if you want to, but guess what? Now, not only are the 76ers asking for too much, you over here acting like James Harden when you don't produce like James Harden. So now you become this problem that no team is going to want. This is not what Ben Simmons should be doing. Ben Simmons should eat a slice of humble pie. He should be the one that's going in and saying, hey guys, I know you're not getting what you want from me. If you can't get it, let's make it work for one season. Let's plan an exit strategy for me. You need to really seem like you're a team player in this situation because you're not wanted. So you can't be like, oh, if you don't give me what I want, give you what you want. We don't want you. So stop. This is really weird to me. He needs to be the humble guy that's going to make the best of the situation so he can seem more appealing to other teams in the league. He's shooting himself in the foot right now, but that's Ben Simmons. That's what he does.
It is funny because we did see that, similar situation happen with James Harden, like you mentioned. And even with James and everything that he brings to the table as a basketball player, we still looked at that and were like, damn, that is not the right move. And James has a lot more leverage than Ben Simmons ever will. So if we can look at somebody like that and recognize that that's just like the wrong way to handle it, then Ben Simmons is certainly not going to get away with it. And another thing to consider is that Ben is on a massive contract. So the Sixers are making the wrong move by trying to ask for too much in return for somebody like Ben. But on top of that, there just may not be a team out there that even wants to take over Ben's major contract. So the future for him feels very murky. What do you expect is going to happen with Ben?
He's going to sit out training camp for sure. And then the 76ers are not going to get, it's exactly like you said, they're not going to get what they want for him, and they're not going to get a team that wants to pick up that contract. So he's going to have to either decide that he wants to sit out the whole year like he's that upset, which I don't see that happening, or he's going to have to go back and figure out a way to make this work. It's going to be contentious. It's not going to be a good situation. On the one side, I really think that the 76ers need to just go ahead and get rid of Ben because it's time. It's about 2 years too late. They should have been thinking about this before that big deal. But anyway, they didn't. So now this is where we are. You should get rid of Ben just because it's better for your franchise. It's going to be better for the team in general to not have this distraction, to start rebuilding, and to do it with somebody who's not afraid to shoot the ball. That's what you need in your team. This Damian Lillard thing, I don't know if that's going to work because that's a whole nother contract. So it's like, I don't know how you're going to do these big, massive contracts. I just don't know. I haven't broken down the money, so I don't know if that could even work for the 76ers. Good luck, but I just don't know if they can make that work financially. Either way, though, Ben is becoming toxic, and he's becoming toxic in a way that is not good. Before, it's like, oh, we can point and laugh and say he doesn't shoot. We can all be hopeful that maybe he will start shooting. And the thing is there was this time where he would at least shoot inside the paint. No, he didn't have an outside shot, but he would get in the paint and take some shots. That's starting to become a problem for him. His defense is declining. Like every single stat that this man had that was kind of his redeeming quality is declining. This is not where you bet on yourself. Like Dennis Schroeder, this is not it. You go in, you deal the card you're dealt, and you figure it out. He's putting himself in a position. If I was his agent, I would tell him, don't make this harder for me. I got to figure out how to navigate this massive contract and your declining stats. Don't sit around and pout as well. Don't do it. I don't like it.
I don't like it either. This is just all the way around the wrong way to be handling this, and he is making it more difficult for literally everybody involved, including himself. Now, I know you don't know if this Dame Lillard move would work with the Sixers in terms of cap space, but how do you feel about Dame going to Philadelphia if that's something that they are able to manage? Would you like to see him over there if he can't be on the Lakers?
No, hell no. If he ain't coming to LA, I don't want him going anywhere, period. I've already said, I told y'all that. It was supposed to be Dame and Carmelo to LA. Dame got to stay where he's at now. You can't go to Philadelphia. That's going to make me all kinds of mad. No. And Vapos in the chat, if that's how you say your name, I shall not. So welcome. You can stay or you can go. But no, I definitely don't want to see him in Philadelphia. That would just be... He would do great there. Let me say that. That would be fantastic. I still don't know how that's going to work out money-wise. I haven't broken that down yet. But that's not what I want to see personally. Absolutely not. No.
I thought for a while that Dame was leaving, but the longer this offseason goes on, I think he's staying, which to me is so mind-blowing. I know our conversation was supposed to be about Ben Simmons, but since the Dame information was brought up, anyway, I do think Dame is going to be just staying in Portland. Don't you agree?
I mean, it's one of those things that I don't know if I think that just because it's going on so long, but he just signed that contract, So yeah, I think ultimately he'll end up saying, I don't know if he does go. I just don't. Again, I would have to see that. That's two massive contracts you'd have to contend with on both sides. Maybe it makes sense financially for both teams. I don't know, but that is not a destination. I always thought that if he didn't come to LA, then he was going to stay. Basically. So I think I'm with you on that he's going to stay. I'm just going to be glad when the dust settles around all this. But I don't think anybody's caring about the dust that's around Ben, though. Ben just needs to figure it. He needs to kind of do what he's supposed to do and stop making this hard for himself. Because he doesn't have that kind of clout where he can be like, oh, I'm going to sit out training camp. Like, okay. We got to make Joel and Andre get along. We're not worried about you. Go sit down somewhere. That's fine.
That's true. The Sixers have that whole other problem that I wasn't even thinking about. But yeah, they've got two enemies now on the same team. They have Ben Simmons throwing a tantrum in the corner. They have these guys probably about to throw down in the locker room. they've got a lot of problems over there in Philly. Hopefully they can all sort it out pretty soon. But you guys, let's wrap up Need to Know News. Let's head into my very last post up. Jackie, what do you have for us today?
Oh, it's so sad. Yes, let's get into this post up. I don't understand this one at all. I see this happen all the time with the disrespect that happens to these fans, which is funny to me because y'all know damn well if they decide they want to be about that life and give you that smoke, you're not ready. None of y'all is ready. I don't understand this. And Kawhi is just, he's not that guy that's going to react to anything. So why even try to get a reaction out of him? It's funny who this person is, and I'm going to show you that in a second. But just listen to the disrespect that this fan is giving to Kawhi Leonard. It's ridiculous.
Fuck Kawhi. Fuck Kawhi. Why is he here?
So you hear what he says. First of all, he sounds like he's a little bit older, but he's clearly a child. And we know this because of this next post where the dad is super proud of this kid. He says, "My son is savage. 100, go Spurs." So the dad is proud. Okay. I mean, no, this guy's not going to win the Parent of the Year. You think that your kid is out here acting like this? This is so weird to me. It makes no sense. But look, people really didn't have much to say about the kid as much as they're talking about this man and his bad parenting skills. But this first one says, "I'm sorry, but you still got to treat these players with respect. Doing stuff like this will, in fact, get you kicked out and banned from events, but this isn't it at all." Absolutely. Like, why are you... Kawhi's not even doing anything. But now let's talk about this man's parenting skills. You out here hyping up your son to be out here in public cussing out Kawhi Leonard. That's ridiculous. Says, "Thought y'all was just losers on Twitter. Y'all really like this in real life too, and raising your kids to be losers as well. This is crazy." So, I mean, you put yourself out there like that to brag about your son acting a complete fool. Have another tweet that has a similar sentiment. Says, "You're raising your son to be a loser just like you. You are mentally weak or you just don't have anything going for yourself. One of those have to apply because that's what this type of behavior applies to." And the dragging on this man just continued because you said that you're proud of your son behaving like this. Devin, we talk about parenting all the time. If that had been me, and I'm grown, if that had been me saying this to Kawhi and my mom was right beside me, oh, that would have gotten shut down so quick. What makes you to brag about your son being a little douche in this moment?
It's when losers have children. That's what this is all about. I mean, I can't imagine that he would sit there and be like, "Yeah, bro, my son's a savage." Like, that's so embarrassing that you're going to be okay with that kind of behavior. And I can't imagine also being so wrapped up in an NBA team and the drama that went down with a former player that I would actually be encouraging my kid to treat somebody like that in person, face to face. Like, that to me is like, something's wrong with you. If you're going to sit there and still be so bitter about Kawhi leaving the Spurs that you're going to let your kid choose to be an indecent human being and acting rude and disrespectful in public just to like satisfy whatever grudge you're still holding against Kawhi. So honestly, it's so insane to me. I can't imagine this at all. Very embarrassing for this dad. Clearly he's not a good father.
Right. No, I mean, and it's probably his weekend. And so he's like encouraging his kid to do. This is just weird to me. When I saw that it was the dad that posted this, I was like, wait a minute. I can see a kid acting like that because it's whatever, but the dad being proud, that threw me off a little bit. So most people in the chat as well. Jeremiah says, "My mom would drape me up for that though." So, oh, okay. I don't know, but let's go on to this next one because this man smiling from ear to ear just warms my heart so much because this is the definition of now you can see what good parenting looks like because even as an adult, you act a certain way because it's your mother. I love this moment where Russell Westbrook takes the time. He's posing with his new Lakers jersey, and then he has to take time and make sure mom gets her picture as well. You guys take a look. I love that. If you didn't see, he just looked down. He goes, "Here you go, mom." Did a pose, and then went back to everybody else. That's good home to right. It's like, oh, it's Russell and mom. It's so sweet. That's how you're supposed to act when mama is around. I love that. He's starting to win. Now, here's the funny thing. When this trade was originally announced and when we knew that he was coming here, people were like, oh, you know, Russell, boo, I don't like Russell. He's a terrible player. Now, on this thread, it's totally different. Now people are starting to warm up because of this reaction that he had to his mom. Y'all finally starting to see that he's a good person. This person says, good for him. Never forget your loved ones, no matter how successful you are. All the best for Westbrook and Lakers. This is a whole new side of people, because this is not what was happening when he first signed with us. This one says, always like him, but Russ is really starting to win me over. So wholesome and passionate. Yes, he is a downright good man, and I agree with all of this. And this one just says, I'm so happy. And then the last one, always pose for your mom. I love this. I love all the love that Russell Westbrook is getting right now because he deserves it. He's an amazing person. He's a good basketball player. He deserves all these accolades. But Devin, you know all the shade that he got when he first signed with LA. This is a shift. Is it just because he posed for his mom?
Yeah, that's a great question, Jackie. I don't know if I even have the answer because, like, it's funny that a bunch of people who were so upset about Russell coming to the Lakers, like that this one moment with his mom could cause such a huge shift. Maybe what we're seeing right now is the people that are like sensitive enough to be impacted and like warmed by this sweet moment are finally being vocal, and the haters are just like, I don't care what he does with his mom, but so they don't have anything to say about it. I just can't imagine that they would have such a complete 180 because yeah, there were so many people that were super upset about Russell coming to the Lakers. They didn't think he was the right fit. You and I acknowledged that maybe he wasn't the best option out there, but we still liked it. But there were a lot of people who were just so unhappy about it. I don't think that this moment would have impacted them or hit that, tugged at their heartstrings at all.
Yeah, no, and I said the same thing. I was like, he just speeds up the game so much that I was a little worried about, about to be 37 in December, LeBron and Mr. Glass AD all of a sudden have to play faster. That's still a little weird to me. But I also saw LeBron take the team through the workout, and LeBron was the only one that was okay at the end. So maybe I can just calm down. That's probably what made me calm down a little bit. Jeremiah, I saw you in the chat. You're mad about Russell. I don't know what to tell you, bro. He's a fantastic basketball player. Don't be casual. Don't just hate for no reason. He's a fantastic basketball player. Now let's move on to a basketball player that's just had a rough go his entire career. And we know it's because of his height, but he's also a really good basketball player. He's been through a lot. You guys know Isaiah Thomas. He's kind of been this journeyman in the league, and now he's not in the league. We remember when his sister died and he had to go out there and played, and then Charles Barkley gave him a hard time for crying. The man has just had a really rough go of things, and they did an interview with him before a Pro-Am game, and they were just talking about his life in the NBA, and one of the things he said was he really missed Kobe Bryant. The day after he said he missed Kobe Bryant, he went out and he scored 81 points in his Pro-Am game. It was such a beautiful moment because he's still very talented. Here's a guy that's very talented, but that is not in the league for whatever reason. And then I think that was his moment where he realized, yo, I'm still dope and nobody's checking for me right now. And I think it got to him. In this moment, I teared up a little bit. I'm not going to tear up on this show. But when I saw this for the first time, it really hit my heart. So you guys take a look at Isaiah's feeling about going out there and scoring 81 points in the game he loves and not being appreciated in the league. Take a look.
These niggas gave up on me. They gave up on me.
That's what it's called.
That just like ripped my heart out and threw it across the room. To hear him say they gave up on me, that's something that you're never going to get past. Let's just be honest. When you feel that you have this level of talent and you still want to play and the league just doesn't, that's just something you're going to have to deal with. You're never going to get over that. But to put up 81 points and to know you still got it and you can't be in the league, that's tough. That's tough. People actually showed him a little bit of sympathy, a little bit of love. I have some tweets that says, nah, NBA got nonchalant hoopers on big contracts, but you got somebody who genuinely loves the game who ain't on a team. That is horrible. I agree. That is a terrible thing because obviously some teams could use somebody like Isaiah. This next tweet had a similar sentiment, like, and I'm going to ask Jeremiah in the chat, said the Warriors should give him a chance. They need a real point guard. Wherever I think he deserves a job in the NBA. I cannot watch that video more than once. Devin, I saw you in the chat reacting to that. How did that, like hearing somebody as talented as Isaiah saying, oh, they gave up on me. They gave up on me. How did that make you feel? That's so sad.
It's so sad. It's heartbreaking. And to see him like sobbing like that, I mean, that just really hurt me. It really like just hit me in my feelings a lot. And it's funny because, you know, just in our show today, we talk about Ben Simmons, who's acting like a diva. We have Dennis Schroeder turning down money. And then there's somebody like Isaiah Thomas who like really wants to be there. So yeah, it's upsetting. It really breaks my heart.
Julio says Boston did him dirty. He played hurt for our team and did more damage to his body. I agree with that. This man just wants to play so bad. And it's not like it'd be one thing if he wanted to play so bad and he wasn't good. The man can play. I wish he had a job. I mean, I wish I could do something. I feel so helpless at this point. I wish I could do something to help him get a job, but I'm just going to put it out in the atmosphere. Like Devin always says, you know, positive energy, name it and claim it. Hopefully he'll get a job at some point. That's just all I can say about that because that one just hurts. But you guys in the chat, I want you to let me know how you feel about this one. Because on the one hand, I like it. On the other hand, I'm like, this might be too soon. Y'all are both rookies. This might be too soon. But Jalen Green, you guys know he went number 2 in the draft to the Houston Rockets. And then, of course, Cade Cunningham went number 1 to the Pistons. And now they're playing against each other in the Summer League. And there's some shade being thrown. Well, not some shade, a stare down. You guys take a look.
Lamb locked up by Hayes. Green for 3. Butter. Jalen Green.
But Jalen does not lack for confidence. I mean, what a striking difference, right? Jalen on the catch ready.
I saw somebody in the chat earlier when we were talking about Isaiah. He was like, oh, it's a pro-am. Who cares if he scored 81? Okay, this is a summer league. Who cares about your little shot? Like, are we doing stare downs already? I just think this is a little soon, but you know, do what you do. This user kind of had a similar feeling as well. Let me show you this tweet. He says, Jalen Green playing off ball still scored 25 points. Cade last game playing off ball scored 12 points. Levels on this between Jalen Green and not even 100% today. He just saving his energy for Summer League championship game. Cade is overrated playmaker. I do not agree with that. You guys let me know in the chat. I definitely don't think Cade is overrated. I just think, okay, you know, it's still, this kind of looked like a college game. I don't know if I'm with all the stare downs right now, you know, but whatever. But Jalen had something to say about this as well. So he has playing with the chip on his shoulder. You guys take a listen.
Well, on the other side, you're used to battling with Cade. You were even teammates with him. But what was it like going up against him for the first time as pros?
It was fun. He's a good player. He battled back. Yeah, I mean, I have respect for him. So that's the reason we come on the court and we're going to battle it every time. So it was a good game overall.
I mean, we know you have respect for him, but you've made it known that you felt like you're the best prospect in this draft. Yeah. How big has your chip been playing here in Las Vegas?
My chip been super big. It started at draft night when I got drafted number 2. I felt I was number 1, but I mean, it's just the work I gotta put in. I gotta keep the chip on my shoulder from where I'm from. My family installed it into me, so I'm just keeping better every day.
Now that I like, whatever you need to have that chip on your shoulder to make sure you go out there and play at a high level. Just if you think you should have went number 1, I love all of that. That all works for me. But like, you know, I just gotta wait. I gotta see what's gonna happen. This next one, though, I want to spend some time on because I was a little bit surprised to see the difference of opinions between men and women on this topic, because I definitely thought more men were going to fall on the side that I fell on, but they did not. So we all know what happened to PJ, despite us all warning him, but he fell for this woman who clearly was out to attach herself to his money by having a baby. So now a user posts this. It's happening again, totally different situation. So This guy says, hope these young players have some good people around them, because it says 41-year-old Bernice Burgos has her eyes on a 20-year-old NBA draft pick, Sharif Cooper. First of all, she looks amazing. Let's just get that out the way. If we just basing it on physical appearances, go sis, you doing that. But she's 21 years older than this guy. So when I first saw this, I'm like, okay, if this was R. Kelly, this would be a no-brainer. People would be damning her to hell. But because it's a woman, I feel like there's a disconnect. So a user who happened to be female kind of echoed my sentiment. And she says, female predators aren't talked about enough. And I think that is so true. We just don't, even in our society, when we hear about, and I've been in circles where we're talking about older women with younger guys. And my guy friends, the first thing they say was, well, what does she look like? What difference does that make? If it was the same situation, but it was a man and a young girl, we'd be mortified. Why doesn't that carry through the same way? I don't get this. Then this man, and this was the sentiment of most men on this thread. So I really want to see what you guys think in the chat. Devin, I want to see what you think as well. But he says, how is she a predator when he's of age? Y'all love to reach. There comes a time when you're held completely liable for the decisions you make. 20 is certainly old enough. So this is the weird part of the situation for me, because we have all these people who come out in these scientific studies. This happened during the R. Kelly case, which is happening right now. I follow that. If y'all want to update on that, holla at your girl, because I'm following that. I'm obsessed with that. But there's all these psychological and medical professionals that say the brain doesn't truly develop until you're 25, which is why you targeting somebody who is 17, 18, 19, even though 18 is technically of age, is a big problem. This man just turned 20. She's been targeting him since before he turned 20. Devin, I feel like this is a predator type of mindset. And why do we not talk about this more?
I don't know why we don't talk about it more. I think it's because, we often see men doing the more predatory things. It's just the more common occurrence. And so and when you look at like physically a man to a female, there's a disparity there. And it's not as great when it's a woman to, an older woman with a younger man. I think this behavior is very, very weird. These women, will do anything to make sure that they can like secure some money. They get pregnant, they do whatever. They're trying to go out with 21-year-olds. I mean, we saw the same thing with Brittany Renner and PJ Washington. And this happens a lot. It happens a lot. And I do think that it's discussed, but it's talked about in more of a way where it's like, oh, she like was in it for the long game, but we don't talk about how it, can actually be, have a very negative impact on these young athletes. So yeah, I do find this pretty bizarre. 41 to 20 is like a huge, huge difference. If I go out to a bar and I even meet somebody who's like 24 or whatever, it's like, oh, like you're little, like I'm not even interested. So clearly, it's like there's bad intentions here. And I think that it's something these young guys need to look out for, because they're going to find these women, whether they're the same age or they're older, who are going to go, who are going to go into it and forge a relationship, maybe get pregnant, try and take advantage. And it's not good. It's not good for anybody.
Yeah, no. And I see everybody in the chat saying, he can't even drink yet. That's the thing. That outfit that she had on, that's my going out freakum dress. I'm going out, I'm a drink. Who you going to take with you? Your little boyfriend? Where's he? Is he going to wait in the car for you? What's the plan here? I need to know.
He'll pick her up from the bar when she's blacked out.
Like, I'm outside, babe. Just stumble to the door. I can't get through the door. But if you can get to the door, I can get you out. This is just dumb. This is just dumb. I really think we need to address this more, because now I do agree with that user said. I hope he has some good people around him, because these women, they coming for you. Y'all need to be ready. So just know that. Let's get on to this next one. Because this one annoys me. The No Fun League strikes again. If you've ever played a competitive sport, part of it is that getting in your face thing, getting inside people's head. You might taunt them a little bit. I'm not saying do anything that's just highly disrespectful, but there is a place for taunting in professional sports. It lets you know, okay, I see you tried it, but you saw what happened. It's cool. It makes the game fun. Unless, of course, you play in the NFL. They sent out this video about their new taunting rules, and I am over it. You guys take a look at this video and let me know what you think.
The NFL Players Association, coaches, and competition committee have all made a strong statement regarding respect among everyone on the field. We saw an increase in actions that clearly are not within the spirit and intent of this rule, and not representative of the respect due opponents and others on the field. Game officials have been instructed to strictly enforce the taunting rules, and players and coaches are reminded that 2 taunting penalties committed by an individual player will result in automatic disqualification. In addition, the taunting player may be fined and/or suspended, depending on the severity of the actions.
First of all, the voiceover. The voiceover is just the most condescending, hey, you grown men, you're going to act the way we want you to act because we don't want you to have an ounce of damn fun when you're out on that damn field. That's what his voice sounded like to me. Somebody else should have voiced that over, number one. Number two, again, it's part of the game. There's other aspects that you can do. We've talked about this before. The refs. Y'all can really work on the refs. Get the call right, especially when they have time to do the replay. There's so many other things that you can do besides snatch some of the fun away. This is the dumbest thing I've seen in a long time. This mindset is just soft. Let me go to this user, the only user that I found that kind of agrees with this. And he says, as much as I'm fine with small displays of testosterone, the issue becomes what if it leads to retaliation and escalation? Whose fault is it then? And no winners in that case. So what else can you do but nip it in the bud early? Boy, bye. First of all, escalate how? If it escalates, then that's the problem. The actual taunting is not the problem. Thank God this user kind of set this person straight and let him know you just kind of answered your own question with this. That was ridiculous. He says maybe the first guy who gets violent is at fault. Until then, it should all be fair game. If you can't handle a bit of taunting, you shouldn't be on the field. I 100% agree with that. Y'all out here bashing heads, running at each other full speed ahead, and then you want them to be choir boys at the same time. Well, oh my God, the NFL is getting on my last nerves. Devin, the video. How did you feel about that video?
They made it sound so like serious and intense. Like, it takes away from the integrity of the game. Like, oh my God, relax. What? I mean, look, I understand that you don't want to see like a brawl go down on the field, but talking a little bit of, ish and, just talking smack, like that's fun. That fuels the game. That like ups the ante a little bit. So for them to take this away, it's like, what are you doing? This is what the viewers tune in for. They like to see this kind of stuff go down. Doesn't make sense to me. It seems like they're just cutting off an income stream. If the game becomes too boring because people don't want to watch when there's nothing going on, no like intensity or altercations happening, then they're just going to be losing money.
Yeah, it's just one of those things where, I mean, somebody said it went past me, but he's like, they must not be able to hear what happens on the line because a lot of trash talking happens on the line. So then what happens then? Are you going to nip that in the bud? I've heard the most vile language happen on the line. Are you going to address this is the NFL really needs to learn how to read the room, because this is too physical of a sport to say, hey, we want you guys to be little choir boys, make sure your tie is on straight. This is the dumbest thing ever. Speaking of dumb things in the NFL, let's move on to Jerry Jones. See what I did there? Because this one, people are way too invested in this. I get it. Jerry wants to always make sure people are talking about the Cowboys. I think this is a weird one. Let me show you this video that has people paying way too much attention. This is Jerry Jones putting salt on his McGriddle. This person says, WTF. First of all, I've never had a McGriddle, so I don't even know. Like, I know it's the waffle sandwich and it's a breakfast sandwich, but why do we care if he puts salt on it? Of course, Twitter had an answer. Had a lot of answers, so let me show you this first tweet. This one is concerned for Jerry because of health reasons, apparently. He's like, it's not seasoning when McDonald's already loaded it with seasoning. I could see the fries, but the McGriddle, you can make it taste much better than it already does, especially not with more salt. So he's looking at the sodium levels. So apparently there's already a lot of salt, more salt in the McGriddle than there is in the fries. That doesn't seem over 1,100 milligrams of salt in the that doesn't even seem possible for it to have more salt than the fries, but apparently he does. It does. This man went on a whole dissertation on his Twitter about the amount of salt that they put in different items on the McDonald's menu. He's too invested, but everybody was too invested. Let me show you this next one. This one's funny to me. Holy mother of cholesterol. In all of my years of eating McDonald's with friends, family, even seeing strangers eat when I've actually sat inside, I have never seen anyone add salt to any items on that menu. It's actually impressive watching this. I get it. NyQuil Ninja said something similar. Hypertension is known as a silent killer. And Jerry Jones was really silent when he was putting that salt on his McGriddle. People are apparently concerned about this man's health. This one says, I thought he was finna unscrew the whole cap the way he was shaking at that thing. Okay, apparently salt on the McGriddle is a bad thing. Like I said, I've never had a McGriddle, so I am trusting you guys that this is just the silent killer. And salt on a McGriddle is not a good thing. I'm gonna have to take your word for it because I've never, Devin, I know you've never had a McGriddle. Have you ever even been to McDonald's?
No, it's so funny. I was just about to say to you, everybody gives me they drag me for never having been to Chick-fil-A. And so you are over here saying you've never had a McGriddle. I haven't either, but like, are we surprised? Obviously, I haven't had one. But are we going to give Jackie the same treatment that I get for not ever having Chick-fil-A? She's never had a McGriddle. I think it's time that everybody goes off in the chat. Yeah, I've never had one.
McGriddle. Raise your hand in the chat if you've never had a McGriddle. I feel like there's more of me than people who've not had Chick-fil-A. That's just weird.
I don't know.
Oh, well, see, Bobby's had one. He says he puts jelly on his. See, look, nobody's talking about the McGriddle. They're immediately going back to the, wait, no Chick-fil-A? See, I told you. That's not.
Yeah, God, you guys, I've never had Chick-fil-A. Yeah, I've never had it. But Jackie hasn't had a McGriddle, so like, come on, let's just even it out a little.
Okay, it just doesn't sound good. I don't know, but that's all I got for the post up. This is hilarious. Keep going on with this Chick-fil-A versus McGriddle. I just don't think that's a battle. You have to have Chick-fil-A. That's a thing, right? All right. That's all I got for the post up. Let's get into this what we not gonna do situation. We talked about this already this week. We're gonna give you an update on this Lewis Brinson situation. We talked about this, him going into the Mile High City, playing at Coors Field, and there was apparently somebody yelling the N-word while he was at bat. I was infuriated by this. Black Twitter was infuriated by this. It was this whole thing. I don't follow the Rockies well enough to know that their mascot's name is Dinger. Okay, so now I know the mascot's name is Dinger. He's a cute little dinosaur guy. So now in this investigation that the Rockies did, they found this clip, and apparently it wasn't this man yelling out the N-word. It was him trying to get the attention of the mascot to have him come over and take a picture. So I want you guys to see this clip because this person kind of does a little map and shows you where Dinger is in relation to this man. So you guys take a look at this and let me. So that's a little mascot. So he's saying that, and that's why he drew that little red line, like where he was waving to, the mascot was over there. So this is the new thing. He wasn't yelling the N-word. He was yelling the name of the mascot. So the Rockies released a statement that said, after a thorough investigation that includes calls, emails, and video clips from concerned fans, media, and broadcast partners, the Colorado Rockies have concluded that the fan was indeed yelling for the Rockies mascot Dinger in hopes of getting his attention for a photo, and there was never any racial slur that occurred. And that's what that's their statement. So I don't, to me, there's a huge difference between dinger and the N-word. So it's one of those things where I can relent it, but it still bothers me because even if he did say that word, somebody else heard it that way too. Somebody else heard the N-word. Nobody reacted to that. Like, bro, what did you say? And then at that point, he could have been like, oh no, I'm calling for the mascot. And then we could have been like, oh, okay. But nobody had a visceral reaction to this black man standing on home plate and this word that sounds like the N-word. Them people was chilling. They had no reaction at all. I'm still bothered by that because there's no way nobody heard that it wasn't. Yeah, not everybody heard the mascot's name. I don't give a damn what people say. Not everybody heard that. So Lewis made a statement about this as well. And he says he's watched the video over 50 times. He still does not hear the word dinger. He still hears the N-word. And let's hear what he had to say about it.
Instead of the N-word, I personally, this is again my personal opinion, I personally keep hearing the N-word. It's not that I want to hear it. I'd never want to hear that word. Personally, I've never been called that in person to my face on the baseball field, outside the baseball field ever. So I don't know what my reaction or anything would be if I got called that. But to now, saying that, again, I haven't talked to the Rockies. I haven't talked to that fan personally. But if that's the case, then I'm sorry for any backlash or anything that he's getting right now.
So, and I get that because I watched that video over and over again too, and I don't hear the ding. So that's just me. I'm like him. I don't want to hear the N-word, but I don't hear the ding. So that's just me. Fans are just not buying this at all. They're kind of all over the place with this. Says, LOL, definitely not. He is for sure saying the N-word. And then this one says, clearly a racist slur. So funny how people are trying to say he's calling for the mascot. There's an obvious distinction between the ding and the N-word. It's so disgusting to see this. And so then that's how I feel too. Like I can't tell you how many times I've watched this entire clip and I just don't hear it the same way that people are saying he said it. But Lewis did say, if that's really the case, y'all need to change that mascot's name, period. No, I'm not, because here's the thing. Vasquez in the chat says, admit you were wrong. I won't do that, because here's the thing again. Everybody around that person did not hear ding, and nobody had a reaction. We live in a society where racism is very, very prevalent, and you need to make distinctions on what people are saying. And when you see this black man at home plate and you hear a word that sounds like a racial slur, you need to get clarification. Nobody asked for clarification because nobody gave a damn. And I've still watched that video 50 times and I still don't hear the damn ding. So no, what we not going to do is not get clarification. And what we damn sure not going to do is not change this mascot's name, because a black man don't never need to be standing at home plate and somebody decide, ooh, this is the perfect time for me to call out the mascot's name so nobody will know what I'm really trying to do. Stop it right now. That's not what we're doing. Change the mascot's name. I didn't even know the mascot's name was Dinger. That's a very close distinction. I'm not with it at all. Devin, what do you think about this?
I mean, I don't hear the dinger either. I don't hear the D in that name in that video when he was yelling that name. And I think that it still is appalling that even if he was saying dinger, like, it sounds too similar to the racial slur that I think anybody would have been looking like, what? Like, it should have caused a little bit of like, wait, what did he just say? So I think the whole thing is pretty weird. I think it's a good idea to change the name, but I also think that people need to get way less comfortable hearing things that sound like racial slurs and people that actually say racial slurs. We need to definitely get less comfortable with that. I don't know. This whole thing is very strange to me.
Yeah. It's the fact of the matter is, and this one is for Richard, we live in a very racist country. So we need to have these kinds of conversations and we need to make sure that we address them. So I'm all for changing the mascot's name, because I can tell you right now, being from Denver, it's now that people know, there's some Colorado Rocky fans right now that didn't know the name of the mascot. Now that they know that it's the name of the mascot, they're going to use this as a way to, I'm going to say the N-word without actually saying the N-word. Trust me when I tell you, this is the society that we live in. Change the mascot's name, period.
Yeah, I think it's a good idea. And Kevin says maybe there was no reaction because he was saying dinger. But what I'm trying to say is if I heard somebody shouting that in sort of a loud area where there's a lot going on, even if he was saying dinger, it would have made me look twice. Like, what did that guy just say? That's what I'm trying to say. Like the fact that we're just even comfortable hearing things that sound like they could be racial slurs and nobody has a reaction. That to me is bizarre as well. So
there have been any black fans? There was no black fans in the stand. Let me just clarify that. There was not one black person in the vicinity of that man. If there had been a black person in the stand and they would have saw that black man sitting at home plate, somebody would have turned around and said, wait, what'd you just say? And then you could have probably got clarification on the spot. But representation matters.
Mm-hmm. So that's why for any of you white viewers, if you guys see or hear something that sounds like it's discriminatory, best to speak up. That's what I've learned, at least. I certainly would have been like, what the fuck, if I heard that in person. I can't keep my mouth shut in those situations. I know I'm very like, sweet, blah, 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 but if I see something, I get mad. I get real mad. I should have shared some of the stories that where I've almost gotten like beaten up because I'm like intervening too aggressively. Doesn't seem like something I would do, but you know what? You got to stand up for what's right. And I've been in situations where I've had to do that. Anyway, you guys, we can wrap up the show for the day. It has been such a pleasure talking with you guys. Thank you so much for always welcoming me and for being so active in the chat. Make sure you tune in tomorrow to check out Jackie and a new co-host who's going to be coming in, and just send Jackie all the love, show all the support to Jackie. Follow her on Instagram, you guys. Follow her on Twitter. Watch her defend LeBron on Twitter all day, every day. That's what she does best. Subscribe to the Fumble, tap the bell for notifications, leave a comment below, and share this with your friends. Thank you guys again. It's been a blast. I love you all. Have a great Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
Love it.